Thank you very much. Thank you for the great introduction. So I would like to start. My name is Lex Hoefsloot. I have been, so at Lightyear, we're building solar-powered cars. And you probably know solar-powered cars from the competition in Australia. Together with my team back in 2013, we've been crossing the outback 3,000 kilometers through one of the most remote places on Earth. And we learned one very important thing, and that is how we could scale electric cars. And before I do that, I want to challenge you to listen with an open mind in the coming 10 minutes. So first I want to show you a short movie. Earth, our beautiful little planet. A place to live, to discover, to travel. As humans, we have always loved to move around. For thousands of years, we've done it using the energy that Mother Nature gave us. We discovered that we could go further and faster by digging up and burning what nature had created. And now, we travel the planet like never before. The total distance we cover each year using fossil fuels is just over 9.5 trillion kilometers. 1 light year. Our goal is to let people travel the same distance using only the power of nature, before the year 2035. We set out to develop a car that directly uses nature's biggest source of energy, the sun. It is here today, tomorrow, and it will be here forever. As pioneers in this field, we have been building prototypes for years, with great success. And now, it's time for the giant leap. Traveling the distance of a light year, using only solar energy. That is our mission. So that is thank you. That is of course a very short introduction, and probably you have more questions now than answers. But I'll try to answer a lot of those in the coming few minutes. One of the most important concepts for me to look at the future is that you have to start with the end in mind. And this might be kind of counterintuitive because we live in a world that is rapidly changing and a lot of change, but all of these trends that pop up now, they have been incubated for over 20, 30 years. So if you want to have big impact in the future, you have to start incubating your technology now to be able to have it ready in 20 years. And you have one big advantage, and that is technology is actually quite predictable in a way. And it doesn't count for every technology, of course, but when you look at the prices, for instance, of the components that are important for us, things like batteries, solar cells, carbon fiber, they're quite predictable, and you can predict them 10 years ahead, sometimes even 20 years ahead. So then you know when you will be able to reach the mass market, because your concept is more competitive than that of your competitor. But you see here that you need to incubate it for 10 to 15 years. So you have to find a way to finance that. So either you need very deep pockets, or you need to find a lot of business models in between to find your niches and start in one niche, then a bit bigger niche, and then an even bit bigger niche. And then in the end, reach your mass market. And our endpoint is very clear. So at Lightyear, we want to mitigate climate change. And this has become even more urgent this summer, of course, with the hurricanes popping up. You see that most of the refugees that enter Holland, they come from the places that become drier because of climate change. And you see that the scientists are now predicting that coral actually will be gone or dead in 20 years. And there's another problem, and it's not really a problem, but it is a problem, because the world is getting richer. And you see here the very large red hump that is Asia, and it's moving towards car level. And car level is between 20 and 30 or $50. So a lot of this hump will start driving cars, and we have to make sure these are electric cars, because otherwise we can start driving electric cars here, but it doesn't really make sense. And although we have this big challenge, there's another one, and that is that electric cars are not very scalable at the moment because you need a charging infrastructure, and only 3% of the world has charging infrastructure. So if you have a big, hairy problem like this, how do you solve it? And I really believe in this concept, and that if you cannot solve a problem, make it bigger. So what we've been doing in the last 10 years is looking within these sectors. So we have made cars, get a car, make it electric, put it on the road, have an electric grid, attach solar panels to it, and by doing that, you're creating this. You're creating the grid, and then you have to change the grid in every part of the way. But why don't you rethink the system and combine the grid with your car and have a lot of the grid, so the solar panel, including the distribution and the buffering and the propulsion of the car within the car itself. And that's when you get the really then you get a system that is very scalable, because you can start driving these electric cars you see on the right with a solar panel on the roof anywhere on the planet. You can start driving in South America, you can start driving in Australia, of course, where we've been driving. But how do we get there? Because this, on a fundamental level, this will work. But how do we make the first steps? So our first niche market, we've been looking for this, and we went back to the inherent kind of advantages of a solar car. So the first one, of course, is that you can charge anywhere using the sun, but also using normal power plugs, because our car uses a lot less energy than a normal car will do. And you have to think about it in this way. So we don't use the sun to drive the motors immediately. We use the battery as a buffer, and the sun is a trickle charger for the battery. So you'll be able to charge anywhere. The second point is that we can implement very capable four-wheel drive, because all of these motors are driven independently. So if one of the wheels loses grip, it can recatch itself very quickly. And then because we improve the aerodynamics underneath the vehicle, we have a lot more ground clearance. So when you look at this, you realize that this is a very good fit for an exclusive market, niche market of SUVs. And the very cool thing as well is that we can show this statement. We can make electric cars that are ready for every corner of the planet. And you don't need infrastructure, very good infrastructure of roads, you don't need very good infrastructure of electricity, and still be able to drive electric. This is what we're designing at the moment. We're doing this, we're very pleased to be doing this with a very big and famous Italian design company. I cannot tell you the designer yet, I'm sorry, but maybe you can look at the lines. And then, of course, second step is you need a very good team. And I really believe that your team kind of already is the branding, because people nowadays are losing trust in institutions. So if you have a good team, and you can show these people, and we pick the people we hire very cautiously that they are aligned with our mission, because then it will make your decision-making a lot easier as well. And you can show that all these people within your company are aligned to get to that vision, to that mission. And we've been very pleased to have a very important man as an advisor. Mark Tarpenning is one of the two people that founded Tesla. Elon Musk came in later, but it's quite hard to work with him, so Mark Tarpenning left. And we have been developing a prototype, of course. So the first prototypes will be done in the end of 2018. And you need that to have proof. You have to do this in a different way than it has been done in the last 10 years. So you have to iterate very quickly and do a lot of things digitally. So we can do crash test simulations digitally and learn what the car industry has learned in the last 50 years within a much shorter period of time. And of course, you can use 3D printing to iterate very quickly. And of course, we collaborate with the car industry, because you cannot do this without them. And this means you can build a 21st century technology company, and you can not only build cars, but also other products. And the first deliveries, how do we get there? Well, it is a capital-intensive industry, so you need a lot of money. We do this by proving one step, then raising a round of money, then proving the next step, building a prototype, going to the next funding round. And this is what the first customers will get. 800 kilometers of range, just on the battery, and you only have to charge once every 2 to 3 months. And then we can scale this concept. And this is where it gets really exciting, because fundamentally, the concept is really affordable. You have a small battery, you have a very cheap energy source, and if you start sharing these cars, you'll get to a point in which you can drive these cars for 4 to 5 cents per kilometer. And I want to end with asking you that in order for us to reach this mission, we have to partner with a lot of other pioneers in our industry. So if you know pioneers that can help us realize our mission, please reach out to me. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much.